Lisa stared at her bedroom door, which had just swung open without warning for the third time that morning. Her 4-year-old daughter Maya stood in the doorway, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit, completely unaware that she had just interrupted her mother's private phone call with her boss. "Mommy, can we have pancakes?" Maya asked cheerfully, bouncing on her toes. Lisa quickly ended the call and looked at her daughter with a mixture of love and exhaustion. This wasn't the first time Maya had barged into rooms without knocking. In fact, it was becoming a daily occurrence that was starting to worry Lisa more and more. Just yesterday, Maya had walked straight into the bathroom while Lisa's friend was visiting and using the facilities. The embarrassment on everyone's faces was something Lisa couldn't forget. Her friend had laughed it off, saying kids will be kids. But Lisa knew this behavior needed to change. The problem wasn't just about barging into rooms. Maya seemed to have no understanding of personal space at all. During grocery store trips, she would walk right up to strangers and start conversations. At the playground, she would climb onto other parents' laps as if they were her own family members. At home, she would listen in on adult conversations and then repeat what she heard to anyone who would listen. Lisa remembered the incident from last week that really opened her eyes to how serious this was becoming. Maya had overheard Lisa talking to her sister about their neighbor's divorce. The next day, Maya had walked up to that same neighbor and asked, "Why are you getting divorced?" "Mommy said you're really sad about it." The neighbor had been kind about it, but Lisa had felt mortified. She realized that Maya didn't understand the difference between information that was okay to share and information that should stay private. The little girl treated everything the same way, whether it was her favorite color or someone else's personal problems. As a single mother, Lisa often felt overwhelmed by the responsibility of teaching Maya everything she needed to know about the world. She had been so focused on teaching the basics like tying shoes, using please and thank you, and looking both ways before crossing the street, that she hadn't realized how important it was to teach about boundaries and privacy. The more Lisa thought about it, the more she realized that Maya's behavior was actually quite normal for a 4-year-old. Young children naturally think the world revolves around them. They don't understand that other people have feelings, needs, and rights to privacy that are separate from their own. But understanding that it was normal didn't make it less important to address. Lisa started paying closer attention to Maya's behavior throughout the day. She noticed that Maya would walk into any room in the house without hesitation. She would open drawers and cabinets that weren't hers to explore. She would pick up Lisa's phone and try to look through it. She would even try to read Lisa's mail and ask questions about bills and letters. During playdates with other children, Maya would go through her friends' belongings without asking permission. She would take toys from other kids and seem genuinely surprised when they got upset. She would share her own toys freely, which was sweet, but she expected the same from everyone else and couldn't understand why some children wanted to keep certain things to themselves. The situation at preschool was becoming concerning too. Maya's teacher had mentioned that Maya had been looking over other children's shoulders during quiet time, trying to see what they were drawing or writing. She would also try to join in on conversations between teachers, even when they were clearly having adult discussions about classroom management or other children's behavior. Lisa realized that if she didn't address this now, Maya might grow up to be someone who didn't respect other people's boundaries. She imagined Maya as a teenager, walking into friends' rooms without permission, reading their diaries, or sharing their secrets. The thought made Lisa cringe, but the problem felt overwhelming. How do you explain privacy to someone who has never needed it? How do you teach boundaries to a child who has always had complete access to everything in her world? Maya had never had to knock on a door or wait for permission to enter a room. In their small apartment, there had never been truly private spaces. Lisa decided she needed to start with the basics. She would teach Maya about knocking on doors, asking permission before touching other people's things, and understanding when conversations were meant to be private. It seemed simple enough in theory, but Lisa had a feeling that putting it into practice would be much harder than she imagined. She started researching online about how to teach privacy to young children. She read parenting blogs and articles looking for practical advice. Some suggested using visual cues like signs on doors. Others recommended role-playing games to help children practice appropriate behavior. A few experts suggested starting with very concrete rules that children could easily remember and follow. Lisa felt hopeful as she read through these suggestions. Maybe teaching Maya about privacy wouldn't be as difficult as she thought. Maybe with the right approach, clear explanations, and consistent practice, Maya would quickly learn to respect boundaries and understand the importance of privacy. Little did Lisa know that her journey to teach Maya about privacy was going to be filled with unexpected challenges, awkward moments, and learning experiences for both of them. The real test of her parenting skills was just about to begin. Lisa decided to start her privacy lessons with something simple and visual. She spent her Saturday morning at the craft store, picking out colorful paper and markers. Maya tagged along, curious about their mission, but not quite understanding what they were going to create. Back home, Lisa spread everything out on the kitchen table. "We're going to make special signs for our doors," she explained to Maya, who immediately grabbed a purple marker and started drawing squiggly lines on a piece of yellow paper. "What kind of signs, Mommy?" Maya asked, her tongue sticking out slightly as she concentrated on her artwork. "Signs that tell us when someone wants privacy," Lisa said, carefully writing "Please knock" first in big, clear letters. She drew a little hand next to the words, making a knocking motion. "See, when this sign is on a door, it means you need to knock and wait for the person inside to say come in before you open the door." Maya looked at the sign with interest. "Can I make one too?" "Of course." Lisa handed her a fresh piece of paper. Maya's version looked more like abstract art than words, but she proudly announced it said "knock please" and insisted on hanging it on her own bedroom door. Over the next few days, Lisa tried to make the door-knocking rule fun and easy to remember. She created a little song. "Knock, knock, knock before you enter. Wait for yes before you go in." Maya loved the song and would sing it while skipping around the house. But somehow the actual knocking part didn't seem to stick. The first real test came on Tuesday morning. Lisa was in her bedroom, changing clothes for work, when she heard her door open. Maya walked right in. Despite the bright red "Please knock" first sign hanging right at her eye level, "Mommy, I can't find my blue socks," Maya announced, seemingly oblivious to the fact that Lisa was only half-dressed and clearly in the middle of getting ready. Lisa took a deep breath. "Maya, what does the sign on my door say?" Maya looked back at the door, then at her mother. "Oh, I forgot." She didn't seem upset or embarrassed, just matter-of-fact about her mistake. "Let's practice," Lisa said gently. "Go back outside, close the door, and then knock." Maya did as asked, knocking enthusiastically on the door. "Come in," Lisa called out, and Maya entered with a big smile, clearly proud of herself for remembering. But the very next day, the same thing happened again. And the day after that, Lisa realized she needed to try a different approach. She decided to introduce the concept of private time every afternoon. She would announce that it was private time for 30 minutes. During this period, Maya was supposed to play quietly in her room while Lisa had some time to herself in the living room. The first day of private time lasted exactly 4 minutes. Maya appeared in the living room doorway. Asking if she could have a snack, Lisa explained that private time meant staying in separate rooms unless there was an emergency. Maya nodded and went back to her room. 3 minutes later, she was back. This time she needed help finding a toy. Then she needed to use the bathroom, which was technically allowed, but somehow led to her ending up in the living room again to tell Lisa about something she had seen outside the window. Lisa found herself constantly redirecting Maya back to her room, explaining over and over what private time meant. By the end of the 30 minutes, Lisa felt more exhausted than she had before the private time began. Determined not to give up, Lisa tried role-playing games. She set up different scenarios using Maya's dolls and stuffed animals. They practiced, knocking with the toy bear visiting the toy rabbit's house. They acted out situations where the animals needed privacy to get dressed or take a bath. Maya loved these games and seemed to understand the concepts perfectly when they were playing. With toys, she would make the bear knock politely and wait for permission. She would have the rabbit ask for privacy when it needed to change clothes. But somehow, these lessons didn't transfer to real life. Lisa even tried using a timer system. She got Maya a special sand timer and explained that sometimes people needed alone time, and Maya should wait until the sand ran out before coming to talk to her. Maya was fascinated by the timer and loved watching the sand fall, but she would still interrupt before it finished, bringing the timer with her to show Lisa how much sand was left. The most frustrating part was that Maya seemed to understand the rules perfectly when Lisa explained them. She could repeat back what privacy meant. She could explain why knocking was important. She could even tell her stuffed animals about respecting boundaries when they played together. But the moment Maya wanted something, needed something, or just thought of something exciting to share, all the rules seemed to fly right out of her head. Lisa started to doubt her teaching methods. Maybe she wasn't being clear enough. Maybe she needed to be stricter. Maybe she needed different signs or better explanations. She found herself second-guessing every approach. She tried. The breaking point came during a phone call with Maya's grandmother. Lisa had specifically told Maya she needed 10 minutes to talk to Grandma privately about planning Maya's upcoming birthday party. She had set up Maya with coloring books and snacks in her room and closed the bedroom door with a sign. Within 5 minutes, Maya had interrupted 3 times. First to ask if she could use the red crayon, then to tell Lisa that she had colored a flower. Finally, to ask what they were talking about because she heard her name after the call. Lisa sat on her bed feeling defeated. She loved Maya's curiosity and affection, but she desperately needed her daughter to understand that some moments required space and privacy. She was beginning to wonder if 4 years old was simply too young to grasp these concepts, or if she was failing as a teacher. What Lisa didn't realize was that her most challenging teaching moment was about to arrive in the most unexpected way possible. It had been one of those long, exhausting days that seemed to stretch on forever. Lisa had been working from home while Maya recovered from a minor cold, which meant constant interruptions, snack requests, and the challenge of keeping her restless 4-year-old entertained while trying to meet work deadlines. By evening, Lisa felt like she was running on empty. Her head was pounding from staring at her computer screen all day, and her shoulders ached from tension. All she wanted was 10 minutes of peace and quiet to wash away the stress of the day. Maya had finally settled down in her bedroom with her favorite puzzle, the one with the big friendly dinosaurs that usually kept her occupied for at least 20 minutes. Lisa watched from the doorway as Maya carefully placed the pieces, her little tongue poking out in concentration the way it always did when she was focused. "I'm going to take a quick shower, sweetheart," Lisa announced. "I'll be out in just a few minutes, okay?" Maya looked up and nodded. "Okay, Mommy, I'm making the T-Rex family." "That's wonderful. Remember what we talked about. When someone is in the bathroom, what do? We wait outside and only knock if it's a real emergency," Maya recited perfectly, like she had done dozens of times before during their practice sessions. "Exactly. You're such a smart girl." Lisa kissed the top of Maya's head, breathing in that sweet smell that only belonged to her daughter. "I'll be right back." Lisa made her way to the bathroom, double-checking that Maya was still happily working on her puzzle. She closed the door behind her and, for a moment, just stood there in the quiet space. The silence felt like a luxury after the constant chatter and questions that had filled her day. She turned on the water, adjusting the temperature until it was just right. The bathroom began to fill with steam, and Lisa felt her muscles start to relax just thinking about the warm water washing over her tired body. She had been looking forward to this moment all day. As she stepped under the spray, Lisa closed her eyes and let out a long sigh of relief. The hot water felt amazing on her tense shoulders. For the first time all day, Her mind felt quiet. No work emails to worry about, no snacks to prepare, no questions to answer. Just the peaceful sound of water and the feeling of finally being alone with her thoughts. She had just started shampooing her hair when she heard it. The unmistakable sound of the bathroom door opening. Lisa's eyes flew open, and through the frosted glass of the shower door, she could see a small figure standing in the doorway. "Maya?" she called out, hoping somehow she was mistaken. "Mommy, I finished the T-Rex family." Maya's excited voice echoed in the steamy bathroom. "And I want to tell you something really, really important." Lisa stood there for a moment, water running down her face, shampoo dripping into her eyes, trying to process what had just happened. After weeks of teaching, practicing, and explaining, after all the signs and songs and role-playing games, Maya had walked right into the bathroom while she was showering. "Maya, honey," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice calm and patient. "Remember what we talked about. The bathroom is a private space. But Mommy, this is really important." Maya stepped further into the bathroom, completely unbothered by the steam and the sound of running water. "I want to tell you about the dinosaur family I made. And I thought of the best name for the baby dinosaur." Lisa felt a mixture of frustration and disbelief wash over her. How could Maya have forgotten everything they had practiced? How could she not understand that walking into the bathroom while someone was showering was exactly the kind of situation they had been talking about? But as she looked at Maya's silhouette through the glass, Lisa saw something that made her pause. Maya wasn't being defiant or mischievous. She was genuinely excited about her dinosaur puzzle and wanted to share her joy with the most important person in her world. To Maya, the bathroom door was just another barrier between her and her mommy, and her news about the dinosaurs felt urgent and important. "Maya, I can see that you're excited about your puzzle," Lisa said, wiping shampoo out of her eyes. "But right now, Mommy needs privacy." "Do you remember what privacy means?" "It means you want to be alone," Maya said, but she didn't move toward the door. "That's right, and where should you be right now?" "Outside the bathroom," Maya admitted, but her voice carried a hint of confusion, as if she couldn't quite understand why this rule applied to her important dinosaur news. Lisa realized this was exactly the kind of moment she had been preparing for, even though she had never imagined it would happen quite like this. Standing in the shower with soap in her hair, wearing nothing but water and vulnerability, she needed to turn this awkward situation into a learning opportunity. "Maya, I want you to go wait outside the door right now. When I'm finished with my shower and I'm dressed, then you can tell me all about your dinosaur family. Can you do that for me?" There was a pause. Lisa could almost hear Maya thinking, weighing her excitement about the dinosaurs against this rule she didn't quite understand. "But it's really important, Mommy. I know it feels important to you, sweetheart, and I want to hear all about it. But some things can wait a few minutes, and this is one of those times." Lisa heard a small sigh from the other side of the glass. "Okay, Mommy." But Maya still didn't move. She stood there in the steamy bathroom, clearly struggling with the concept that her exciting news would have to wait. This was the moment Lisa realized that all her teaching methods, signs, and practice sessions had been missing something crucial. Maya understood the rules intellectually, but she didn't understand why they mattered or how they applied when her own needs and excitement felt overwhelming. Lisa stood there in the shower, warm water cascading down her back, looking at Maya's small figure through the frosted glass. Her first instinct was to feel frustrated and maybe even raise her voice. After all the lessons, all the practice, all the conversations about privacy, here was Maya doing exactly what they had been working so hard to prevent. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the way Maya was fidgeting with her hands, clearly torn between her excitement about the dinosaurs and the rules she knew she was supposed to follow. Maybe it was the realization that getting angry wouldn't actually teach Maya anything useful. Or maybe it was just the exhaustion of the long day making her pause before reacting. Instead of frustration, Lisa felt a strange moment of clarity. This wasn't just about Maya being disobedient. This was about a 4-year-old brain that was still learning how to balance different needs and feelings. Maya's excitement about her puzzle felt more important to her than any abstract rule about privacy. And that actually made perfect sense for her age. Maya, Lisa said gently, rinsing the shampoo from her hair. I can see that you're really excited about your dinosaur puzzle. That makes me happy because I love seeing you proud of your work. Maya perked up at this. Taking a small step closer to the shower, I made the whole family. And the baby dinosaur is so cute. I'm sure it is, sweetheart, and I really do want to hear all about it. Lisa reached for her conditioner, realizing that this conversation was going to take longer than she had planned. But right now, I need you to help me understand something. When you walked into the bathroom just now, how do you think that made me feel? This was a new approach for Lisa. Instead of just repeating the rules, she was asking Maya to think about the impact of her actions on other people. She watched Maya's silhouette as the little girl considered the question. Surprised? Maya ventured. Yes, I was surprised. What else do you think I might have felt? Maya was quiet for a moment. Lisa could almost see the wheels turning in her daughter's head. Maybe upset a little bit. Yes, do you know why I might feel upset? Because I didn't knock. That's part of it, Lisa said, working the conditioner through her hair. But can you think about why knocking is important? It's not just a rule to make things difficult. There's a reason behind it. Maya shifted from foot to foot, clearly thinking hard. Because you wanted to be alone. Exactly. Sometimes people need a few minutes to themselves, even people who love each other very much. When you walked in without knocking, it made me feel like my need for privacy wasn't important. Lisa could see Maya processing this information. It was probably the first time anyone had explained that rules weren't just arbitrary commands from adults, but ways to show respect and kindness to other people. But I was just excited about the dinosaurs, Maya said, her voice getting smaller. I know you were, baby, and being excited is wonderful. But sometimes we need to wait a few minutes to share our excitement, especially when someone else needs privacy. Lisa realized she was having the most important conversation about boundaries that she and Maya had ever had, and she was having it while standing naked in a shower with conditioner in her hair. It wasn't exactly how she had imagined this teaching moment would go. Maya, I want you to try something with me, Lisa continued. I want you to go back to your room right now, and I want you to think about your dinosaur family while you wait for me to finish my shower. When I come out, I promise, I will sit down with you and you can tell me everything about your puzzle. Can you do that? How long will you be? Maya asked. Just 5 more minutes. You can count to 65 times, or you can sing the ABC song 5 times. Maya seemed to consider this. And then you'll really want to hear about the dinosaurs. I will absolutely want to hear about the dinosaurs. In fact, I'll probably want to see your puzzle too. Okay, Maya said, but she still hesitated at the doorway. Lisa realized that Maya needed more than just instructions. She needed to understand what would happen next, and why waiting would actually be better for both of them. Maya, when I come out of the shower, I'll be clean and refreshed, and I'll be able to give you my full attention. Right now, I'm distracted because I'm trying to wash my hair and talk to you at the same time. If you wait for me, I can really listen to everything you want to tell me about your dinosaurs. This seemed to make sense to Maya. So you'll listen better if I wait? Much better. I'll be able to look at your puzzle and ask you questions about it and really focus on what you're telling me. Okay, Mommy? I'll wait in my room. Maya started to turn toward the door, then stopped. But what if I forget what I wanted to tell you? Lisa smiled. Even though Maya couldn't see it through the frosted glass, you won't forget. And if you do, we can look at your puzzle together and you'll remember. Promise, I promise. Finally, Maya left the bathroom, closing the door behind her. Lisa heard her little feet padding down the hallway toward her bedroom. For a moment, Lisa just stood under the water, marveling at what had just happened. Instead of a power struggle or a repeated lesson about rules, she had managed to help Maya understand why privacy mattered. More importantly, she had shown Maya that waiting didn't mean her feelings and excitement weren't important. It just meant finding the right time and place to share them. As Lisa quickly finished her shower, she realized that this awkward moment had taught her something too. All her signs and songs and practice sessions had been focusing on the what of privacy rules, but they hadn't been explaining the why. Maya needed to understand that respecting privacy was about caring for other people's feelings, not just following arbitrary rules. When Lisa stepped out of the shower and wrapped herself in a towel, she could hear Maya in her room, quietly singing to herself while she waited. The little girl was actually doing it. She was waiting patiently. Respecting the boundary they had just established together, Lisa quickly dried off and got dressed, feeling more hopeful about their privacy lessons than she had in weeks. Maybe the shower interruption had been exactly the breakthrough they both needed. Lisa walked down the hallway toward Maya's room. Her hair still damp from the shower, but her mind clearer than it had been in weeks. She could hear Maya humming softly to herself, and when she peeked around the doorway, she saw her daughter sitting, cross-legged on the floor, carefully arranging her dinosaur puzzle pieces while she waited. "I'm ready now, sweetheart," Lisa said, settling down on the carpet beside Maya. Maya's face lit up instantly. "Mommy, look at my dinosaur family." She pointed excitedly at each piece. "This is the mama T-Rex, and this is the daddy, and this tiny one is the baby. I named the baby Sparkles because look how her scales shine in the light." Lisa found herself genuinely captivated by Maya's explanation, without the distraction of trying to wash her hair. While listening, she could focus completely on her daughter's excitement. She asked questions about each dinosaur, admired the way Maya had fitted the pieces together, and shared in the joy of the newly named baby Sparkles. "You waited so patiently for me," Lisa said, pulling Maya into a gentle hug. "And because you did, I was able to really listen to everything you wanted to tell me. How did that feel?" Maya thought for a moment. "Good, you asked lots of questions. About my dinosaurs. That's right, when people give each other the right time and space, we can connect better." Over the following days, Lisa noticed small but significant changes in Maya's behavior. The improvement wasn't dramatic or immediate, but it was real. Maya still forgot to knock sometimes, but when Lisa gently reminded her, she would actually stop and try again instead of arguing or ignoring the request. More importantly, Maya began to show signs of understanding why these boundaries mattered. One afternoon, Lisa was on an important work call when Maya came running into the room, clearly bursting with news about something that had happened in the backyard. But this time, Maya stopped herself mid-sentence, looked at Lisa on the phone, and whispered, "Sorry, Mommy. I'll wait." Lisa's heart nearly burst with pride as she watched Maya tiptoe back out of the room. When the call ended, Lisa immediately went to find her daughter, who was sitting on her bed, drawing pictures while she waited. "Thank you for waiting while I was on my call," Lisa said. "That showed me that you really understand about giving people privacy when they need it. I remember that you can listen better when you're not doing other things." Maya said proudly. The progress wasn't always smooth. There were still moments when Maya's excitement or needs overwhelmed her memory of the rules. But now, instead of getting frustrated, Lisa had a better understanding of how to handle these situations. She realized that teaching privacy wasn't about creating rigid rules that Maya had to follow perfectly. It was about helping her daughter develop empathy and consideration for others. Lisa started pointing out examples of privacy and boundaries in everyday life. When they watched cartoons together, she would pause to ask Maya how the characters might be feeling when someone barged into their space without permission. When they read bedtime stories, she would highlight moments when characters showed respect for each other's needs. Maya began to apply these lessons in unexpected ways. At the grocery store, when she wanted to pet a stranger's dog, she started asking the owner for permission first. During playdates, she began asking friends before touching their toys or looking in their backpacks. These weren't behaviors that Lisa had specifically taught, but Maya was naturally extending the concept of respect and boundaries to other areas of her life. The most touching moment came about 3 weeks after the shower incident. Lisa was having a particularly difficult day. Work had been stressful. She had a headache, and she felt emotionally drained. She had collapsed on the couch after dinner, just needing a few minutes to decompress. Maya noticed her mother's mood and approached quietly. Instead of immediately climbing onto Lisa's lap or starting to chatter about her day, Maya stood beside the couch and asked, "Mommy, do you need some privacy right now?" Lisa looked up at her daughter in amazement. "You know what, sweetheart? I think I do need a few minutes to myself. Is that okay with you?" "Yes," Maya said seriously. "I can play quietly in my room. Will you feel better after some privacy time?" "I think I will." Maya nodded and started to walk away, then turned back. "Mommy, when you feel better, can we read stories together?" "Absolutely. Thank you for understanding." As Lisa watched Maya head to her room without any fuss or argument, she realized how far they had both come. Maya wasn't just following rules anymore. She was showing genuine care and consideration for her mother's emotional needs. The journey had taught Lisa valuable lessons too. She learned that effective parenting sometimes meant abandoning her planned approaches and being flexible in difficult moments. She discovered that explaining the reasoning behind rules was more powerful than simply enforcing them. Most importantly, she realized that teaching empathy and consideration was more valuable than teaching perfect obedience. Looking back on the awkward shower interruption, Lisa could see it as the turning point in their relationship. That moment of vulnerability and honest communication had created a foundation of understanding that all their practice sessions and visual aids hadn't been able to achieve. Maya still had moments where she forgot about boundaries because she was still a 4-year-old with a 4-year-old's impulses and attention span. But now she had the emotional tools to understand why boundaries mattered. Not just to follow rules, but to show love and respect for the people in her life. As Lisa tucked Maya into bed that night, she reflected on how much they had both learned. Teaching a child about privacy had turned into a lesson about communication, empathy, and the delicate balance between connection and independence that all relationships require. "Good night, sweetheart," Lisa whispered, kissing Maya's forehead. "Good night, Mommy. Thank you for teaching me about privacy. Thank you for being such a good learner." Maya smiled sleepily. "Tomorrow can I tell you about the new game I want to play with my dinosaurs?" "Absolutely. And I'll make sure I have privacy time ready so I can listen properly." "Good," Maya murmured, already drifting off to sleep. "That's how we take care of each other." Lisa smiled as she turned off the light. Yes, that was exactly how they took care of each other.